Pep Guardiola did not want to take part in provocations, make exaggerated predictions, or fuel the tension ahead of the huge World Cup final between Argentina and Spain. However, the Spanish coach did acknowledge that Sunday's match will have a very special meaning for him. Not only because his country could win the second World Cup in its history, but also because Lionel Messi will be on the other side, the player he coached for 4 unforgettable seasons at Barcelona, and whom he continues to consider the best player in the world. Guardiola was asked about the matchup during a conversation with European journalists. As expected, many of the questions focused on Messi, his relationship with the Argentine, and the contradiction of wanting Spain to win while watching the former leader of his Barcelona team pursue a 4th star for l'Albiceleste. Pep began by making it clear that, from his perspective, the final represents the outcome the tournament seemed to have been building toward. For me, this was what had to happen. Argentina had to come through on one side and Spain on the other, he said. According to Guardiola, both national teams overcame very different challenges during the World Cup, but managed to reach the final thanks to a recognizable identity and their ability to respond in the moments of greatest pressure. Spain reached the final by relying on its technical quality, the courage of its young players, and an attacking approach that seeks to control matches through possession. Argentina, meanwhile, showed that it can compete in practically any scenario, dominating, holding on, coming back from deficits, and finding solutions even when the match does not seem to be going its way. They are 2 national teams that represent many things, Guardiola explained. Spain has an extraordinary generation, with young players who play without fear and with incredible confidence. Argentina has the experience of having won. It has players who know how to suffer, and it has that competitive mentality that always appears in the biggest matches. For Pep, the presence of both teams in the final is not only the result of individual talent, it is also a consequence of the character they showed throughout the tournament. In a World Cup, playing well for 20 or 30 minutes is not enough. You have to survive difficult moments, you have to understand when to accelerate and when to be patient. Argentina and Spain did that. That is why they are where they are. When he was asked directly who he wants to see become champion, Guardiola did not try to hide his preference. Of course I want Spain to get its 2nd star. I am Spanish, I grew up there, I played for the national team, and I have friends within Spanish soccer. It would be an enormous joy for the entire country. I cannot say anything else because it would not be honest. However, the inevitable question immediately followed. How will he feel watching Messi try to prevent Spain from becoming world champion? Guardiola smiled before answering and admitted that watching Lionel in another World Cup final will also be exciting for him. Of course, I would like to see Messi dribble. I always want to see Leo with the ball because it is something unique. But let it stop at dribbling. No assists or goals, haha, the coach joked. The comment drew laughter from the journalists, but it also reflected the unusual situation Pep will experience during the match. He wants Spain to win, although he knows it will be practically impossible not to enjoy some of the moves produced by the player with whom he built one of the most admired teams in history. Speaking more seriously, Guardiola highlighted the magnitude of the final and once again praised the Argentine captain. It is going to be an incredible match. We will have the best player in the world on the field, a player I was fortunate enough to coach and enjoy for many years. Everything I could say about Leo has already been said. The difference is that even after everything he has achieved, he continues to find ways to surprise us. Pep recalled that coaching Messi was not simply about preparing tactical movements or finding the ideal position for him to receive the ball. For him, the experience also meant understanding that he was working with a player capable of reading situations before everyone else. When you coach Leo, you quickly understand that there are things that cannot be taught. You can organize the team, you can work on the spaces, and you can prepare the match, but then he sees something that nobody else has seen. That continues to happen. Maybe he plays in a different way now because the years pass for everyone, but his understanding of the game remains extraordinary. The coach also warned that Spain cannot build its entire plan around neutralizing Messi. Although he acknowledged that the captain is the soccer and emotional center of Argentina, he believes Lionel Scaloni's team has shown that it possesses many other resources. When you play against Argentina, the first name that comes up is Messi. That is normal. But if you think only about him, you will have problems. Argentina has players who attack space, midfielders who compete extremely well, aggressive defenders, and a goalkeeper who has shown that he feels comfortable in the highest pressure situations. Guardiola believes that one of the keys will be Spain's ability to maintain its identity even when Argentina tries to disrupt the rhythm of the match. Spain has to play like Spain. It cannot betray itself out of fear. It has to want the ball, move it quickly, and be brave. But it also has to understand that a final contains many different matches within the same match. There will be moments to attack and others to defend. Argentina forces you to live with that discomfort. Pep also praised the work done by Scaloni. In his view, the Argentine coach managed to build a team that supports Messi without depending exclusively on an individual play from its captain. The most important thing Argentina did was build a team around Leo without turning it into a team that simply waits for something from Leo. Everyone works, everyone competes, and everyone understands their role. That is credit to the players, and of course, to the coach. The conversation then returned to the rivalry, the pre-game provocations, and the possibility that Guardiola might make a statement capable of generating controversy before Sunday. The Spaniard was emphatic. If you were looking for a controversial quote or wanted me to help fuel Sunday's match, you are not going to get it from me. Guardiola explained that his relationship with Argentina and with several Argentine players prevents him from turning the final into a personal confrontation or a dispute filled with hostility. It is soccer. It is a World Cup final, and both countries want to win. We do not need to invent enemies. Spain will defend its jersey and Argentina will do exactly the same. Afterward, one will celebrate and the other will be very sad. That is already intense enough. The coach insisted that his feelings are not contradictory. He can support Spain while also acknowledging the admiration he feels for Messi. Do I want Spain to win? Yes. Do I want to see Messi dribble and do what he does best? Also yes. Both things can be true. I do not have to hide what I feel for a player who was so important in my career and in my life. Even so, he once again joked about what he expects from the Argentine during the final. Let him dribble, give us 2 or 3 beautiful plays to remember, and then let Spain win. I think that would be a good agreement, he said with a laugh. Beyond his bond with Messi, Guardiola believes the final could become a celebration of attacking soccer. Both teams have players capable of taking risks, and coaches who do not want to limit themselves to waiting for the opponent to make a mistake. I hope it is an open final, although we know that finals are often tight because of the tension. There is too much at stake. But there is so much talent on both teams that, at any moment, a play could appear that changes everything. Pep avoided predicting a score and maintained that small details will decide the new world champion. In a final, the team that dominates for the longest period does not always win. It can be decided by a set piece, a turnover, a transition, or an individual play. That is why everyone will have to remain focused from the first second until the last. Before finishing, Guardiola once again summarized his expectations. He wants to see Spain lift its second World Cup, but he knows that standing in its way will be a Messi determined to write another extraordinary chapter with Argentina. Spain has a historic opportunity, and I hope it can take advantage of it. But to do so, it will have to overcome a champion, a national team that never gives up, and the best player I have ever seen. And after so much analysis, joking, and praise, Pep closed with a simple confession. I cannot wait for Sunday.